Lisa, oh my goodness, how are you?
Thank you. How are you this morning? Must be early for you.
Well, I'm actually in Massachusetts today. I'm on the
Oh,
Cape.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
so it's not so bad. But what an honor. I can't believe I'm talking to you. I've read so many of your books. Detective Warren, I could not get enough of her. I love those books so much. That series was amazing. And now you have me hooked with this, with Kiss Her
Ah,
Goodbye. I love it. I didn't know about Elkin, and now I want to read everything.
hey.
So, what was it like writing this story? Because it was deep, with the Afghan refugees and the whole describing how they come to Tucson of all places. How much research went into this? What was that like?
So Kiss Her Goodbye for me was an intense book. In many ways, it's me going back to my roots. I started writing domestic suspense, and I felt like at the heart, this is a family story. But this family happens to originate from Afghanistan, and after the fall of Kabul, their life as legal refugees trying to get to the United States. But yes, what is that experience? Because, of course, that's not something I've had. And I met friends who work with the resettlement process with Afghan refugees in particular in Tucson. So, talking to them, the resettlement agencies, but in particular, interviewing the refugees, starting to truly understand what that experience is like, how the challenges, but also the hope that goes into bringing your family and trying to get a better life for, in this case, like your 4-year-old daughter and a whole country. I mean, it was some of the most inspiring, it was some of the most heartbreaking research I've ever done. But I've always loved books that let you walk in someone else's shoes. And I hope by the end of this story, I mean, the suspense is great and the family, but it makes you think a little bit about so many things going on in the world right now.
Yeah, it really, I never realized that Tucson was a landing spot. I thought that was very interesting. I wouldn't think Tucson.
Well, all states will agree to take a certain number of refugees. The US government says we're going to take, say, 150 total, thousand, and then states will pick. But Tucson in particular, because they have the giant air base there. So they are actually
Oh,
quite international. In fact, it was fun. Some of the people I talked to were former servicemen, and they're like, it's been great for them because, they did tours of duty over in Afghanistan. And one of the great things when a lot of people from other countries come to your city is they open up restaurants. And they're like, we can eat Afghan food again. Like, it seems kind of silly, but it's like one of those things people got really excited about. And then
oh,
I got to eat Afghan food, and then I saw their point. Like, it was amazing. It's comfort
yes,
food,
it
not something I would have
is.
thought of at all. It's great comfort food. It's so yummy.
Right, right. So going back and forth between Frankie's timeline, present, and of course, Sabera in the
Yeah.
past, how difficult is that to stay on track and then actually really with the trauma? I mean, they're both going through trauma. It's not exclusive to either one.
I really like psychological suspense. And I think one of the things that's inherent in that is how the actual events of the book, really for Frankie, are changing Frankie's character as Frankie goes.
Mhm.
So Frankie is a missing persons expert, which she has selected because, well, she's kind of obsessed with trying to find the missing. The rest of the world has forgotten. But also, in her own words, she doesn't do blood. She doesn't do gore. So she's not doing homicides. Unfortunately, she kind of keeps ending up in these cases where, there is violence, there is someone's life on the line. So, yes, this is having a huge impact on Frankie. She's not Dee Dee Warren. She's not law enforcement. She
Mhm.
does not have training in compartmentalization. You have to see what this means for Frankie. And again, should she keep doing this? Will she keep doing this? And then, of course, when you start talking about refugees and refugee experience, the trauma is such a piece of that puzzle. And really, one of the resources we cannot give to people to help guide their efforts. And when I was looking at creating this family, you have the husband that's a brilliant mathematician, you have Sabra, who is gifted with languages, then you have the 4-year-old daughter who has some, talents of her own. It's like what's going on within these walls and what are these people really about? And how did this shared trauma impact them as a family getting to Tucson? And then what does that mean for the road ahead? Because I don't plot. So I had to kind of find it by writing it myself. What are the secrets and what are the ghosts that are haunting this family?
Interesting. I know. I think when we watch TV, I feel like we get a certain narrative fed to us. And I'm noticing it more and more the older I get about a lot of things. But I think sometimes we don't realize that these refugees come here and their lives where they were from were fabulous. Like they're not
Yes.
like that's what I feel like I learned. You know, you think it's a certain way and it's that way everywhere. But just like here, there's bad parts, there's good parts, there's society, and I think sometimes we don't realize like they're not used to living in a dumpy apartment and having
Oh,
roaches crawling all over the place.
I mean, experiences certainly vary, but one of the things, particularly from Afghanistan, a bunch of those refugees, people from Kabul, that was actually fairly modern. I mean,
Mhm,
sophisticated might be a little bit of a stretch,
mhm,
but like I was interviewing a young woman who worked in the Ministry for Women's Rights. I mean, she worked in a cubicle. She got her coffee in a corner shop and was, checking Facebook, when Kabul fell in 8 hours. And her family, her job, her country, everything she knew was gone in 8 hours.
mhm,
And I think there's a lot of things people do that's basic psychology to protect themselves. We talk about in violent crime, don't blame the victim. And yet we often do.
mhm.
That person hadn't made that lifestyle choice, if that person didn't engage in high risk activities. And it's just a way of trying to keep ourselves, well, then that won't happen to me. Well, we do that with people from other countries and refugees and immigrants as well. Like, oh, well, that place is terrible. So when I started interviewing people, and I mean, they could be us. I
Mhm.
mean, this young woman I couldn't help but identify with had just passed major anti-harassment legislation. It's like, I mean, I cried at the end of that interview, and so did she. I
Mhm.
mean, she's making it, she's adapting, but that level of loss, I don't have a basis for. I honestly don't know how you lose everything in 8 hours.
I know, and it's eye-opening too because you never know what can happen. I mean, I feel like in America sometimes we're like we think we're so safe and everything's so
Yeah.
wonderful, but things happen and you just never know how fast you could lose everything.
And it's what's interesting in creating the family because Sabra, the mom, again,
Mhm.
gifted linguist, but not yet able to use that. And then her husband, Izad, who's this brilliant mathematician, there's so many rules about what accreditations will accept, what training will accept,
Mhm.
particularly looking at the Afghan refugees and many that have come to the US. They're engineers, they're medics, they're law enforcement. I spoke to some who are lawyers. Their degrees are not recognized. So that is not work they can do here, even though that is talents, education, and in many times, 20, 30 years of a career that is also now they are Uber Eats drivers because that they're allowed
Yeah.
to do.
So I was just in Austin and I had an Uber driver and he was Afghani and like you make a rash decision about someone, but with reading your book, I looked at him like I don't know who he is. I say, oh, he's the Uber driver, but what is he really? I mean, he could be a brilliant doctor who just has to make way by driving people around. And I think that's another lesson from your book is, stop making these rash decisions on people and really talk to them and get to know them.
So it's always an interesting lever to use for suspense as well. Because Sabra, as the story's kind of progressing, we start to realize very quickly is using appearances. I
Mhm.
mean, grew up in a country where watching her own mother be overlooked as a female, like not taken seriously, and then realizing even as a small child, her mom is up to something. Her mom's using that to her advantage. And then
Mhm.
we start to realize Sabra also, well, it's like if you can't beat them, well, then use it as a tool, kind of weaponize other people's ability to just not take you seriously or to,
Mhm.
go with first impressions. And that became one of the fun devices for what's really going on with this family, because they are all kind of leaning pretty heavily, and you're going to dismiss us based on appearance. And we're going to have some fun with that.
Yes, I love it. I know I have to let you go, but thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people go for more information on you and your books?
I hope readers enjoy Kiss Her Goodbye. You can find me on social media at Lisa Gardner BKS for books, and you can go on the website and join the Kill a Friend, Maim a Buddy sweepstakes and possibly get to die in my next novel.
I honestly, it has been such a joy talking with you. I've read your books for so many years, and to see you, it's just I'm fangirling. So
Thank you so much, Kiki. This has been a delight.
thanks. Have a great
Enjoy
day.
your time. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.